Test.
Hello? Ready? All right. Well, welcome everyone to tonight's town hall. My name is Ann Cassabaum. I'm the executive director for the Lake Almanor Area Chamber of Commerce. And on behalf of our board, I'd like to welcome you. These are town halls that are run throughout the year. We have a little change in our schedule this month. We came a week earlier. Normally it's the fourth Monday of the month, but because of Thanksgiving next week, we bumped it up 1 week. So these are brought to you by the Chamber and the community sponsors, which are Antlers Inn, Ayub's Intermountain Hardware, Coldwell Banker, Kerr O'Brien, Collins Pine, Lake Almanor Ace Hardware, Lake Almanor Fitness Center, Ola Construction, Roland Insurance, Seneca Healthcare District, which will be our presenter tonight, and the Elegant Farmer. So we can go to the next slide. And we do have a question and answer panel after the presentation tonight. And we're hoping that Supervisor Tom McGowan is here. Under Sheriff Chad Herman is scheduled to be here. Sean McKenzie, the CEO of Seneca, and then also Robert Gray from Peninsula Fire, if you have any questions about the proposed consolidation. There's been 2 public meetings on that that have happened in the last 2 weeks. So just want to remind you and folks that are on YouTube, we are now streaming from YouTube now instead of Zoom or Facebook, but we have the community tree lighting Friday, November the 29th in Chester Park beginning at 5 o'clock. And next slide. I want to give a shout out to the Elks. They have been very instrumental in taking the lead on helping us put together that skating rink. And we would not be able to do it without the hard work of the Elks and also specifically Terry Parsons, who takes the lead on that. So here we are. We were out there on the 8th, putting the foam pad down. You can see the stacks of the flooring and the siding of it. It's not a bounce house. It's not something that you just plug in and it automatically inflates and it's there. I wish it were that easy, but it's not. But it takes a great deal of support. So next slide. Then in addition, we have the community tree. And this is, a Lego set that you put together and you match up the colors and the numbers, but we're putting together all the branches. And yes, there is a hole at the bottom. We had a short in one of the tree branches. And so my wonderful husband is working on getting that repaired so we can get the whole tree lit up. So once again, the 29th of November, which is also Merchants Night, we'll be there. And then the skate rink will be operating Fridays from 4 to 8, and then Saturday, Sundays, noon to 4. And then once January hits, we'll just be operating on Saturdays and Sundays. So, and then sponsorships. These are all the sponsors that keep that ice rink or the skating rink operational throughout the season, which will end at the end of February. So with that, I'm going to open it up to you, Sean, and give us an update on what's going on with Seneca.
Great, thank you. For the audience and for the online audience, I'm Sean McKenzie, the CEO of Seneca Healthcare. This is our chance to give an update with the current construction project of the new facility. I know it's been a while since we've last spoken about this, but I think we have some great updates. I'm going to show you some great pictures. And just kick it off from there. We're going to have a lot of events coming up that are going to be out there in the community as it relates to the new facility. But I think for the first thing, kicking it right out of the gate here, is to make note of something very special. And quite frankly, the reveal, the big reveal, and the big reveal is that right there. So the new hospital, the name of the new hospital, when we spoke to our board of directors, we wanted it more inclusive of the Lake Almanor community rather than Seneca, which means some things to people that have been here a long time, but not really. And the Chester Hospital, we take care of the entire Lake Almanor Basin. So I just want to lay a big reveal out here is that the new hospital's name is going to be the Lake Almanor Community Hospital. That'll be the signage, that'll be the marketing, That'll be everything. So that incorporates more of our community and more of where we all come. So when we thought about this, it's like when people come here to visit, whether family or they just come here to vacation or their second homes, they don't go to the Hamilton branch. They don't tell their friends, oh, I'm going up to the branch, or I'm going to the West Shore, I'm going to go to Chester, I'm going to go to the East Shore. No, they say they're going to Lake Almanor. That's our location. That's where we live. You know, many communities, one lake. So we thought that would incorporate, be more inclusive of our entire community. That is going to be the name of the new hospital. We're not renaming the hospital. The name of the new hospital will be Lake Almanor Community Hospital. So I wanted a big reveal for everybody out there, and we'll just go on from there. Next slide. I hope that fits everybody's bill perfectly. We are still Seneca Healthcare District. That's our legal name, but we have the Lake Almanor Clinic, and now we're going to have Lake Almanor Community Hospital. So good, moving on. Okay, so construction is well underway. Several years ago, we passed a bond, and we're going to be having a conversation about that. Obviously, I got my tax bill too, and it was on there, but I think that the community needs to know what's going on. So often we pay taxes. I pay taxes that goes to the state, pay taxes that go to the federal government, and I can't tell you what they do with it. Literally, I have no idea. So it's important that we share with you where your tax dollars are going. Once again, when we passed this bond, it was specifically for the build of the new hospital. It had nothing to do with, we can't run our operations on the money. We can't do anything with the money but move it into the new build. But I wanted to share with you where your tax dollars are going. There's been a lot of activity, a little bit more below the ground than above the ground. But I want you to see what's been going on here. So construction of the new community is underway. The nursing home, it's underway. The groundwork pictured above, this is the beginning of it. I have started the new build. We started back in August, and we would have liked to have started in June when we anticipated getting going. But frankly, bureaucracy has a way of slowing down the clock. So we've been delayed and delayed and delayed, and we've talked about the bird, but that's a long time ago. Now it's bureaucracy and things like that. But now we're underway. Things are moving, and actually we're slightly ahead of schedule. We were able to make up some time. So we are actually moving very quickly on this project. Move, next slide. So this was our tree, started with a tree harvest in that beautiful plot of land that we had. That was a year ago, about September, September, October was the tree harvest. So we cleared the land of the trees necessary to do the groundwork. And we moved in the trailer, the superintendent's trailer for the construction, did our job site walk. Go ahead, advance it. Brought in our water truck for dust control, which was part of the agreement. If we're digging around in there, we've got to do good dust control. So we've been doing dust control with water. Thank goodness for rain. Kinda, not really. Snow, whatever we're going to get next week or this week. So we started grading the area. This right here is actually a storm retention pond. So this is closest to the clinic. The clinic's right here. This is a storm retention pond. So all the storm water that will come off the roof and everything that comes in will go into this, and it will fill up. It's supposed to be a 100-year storm or a 100-year flood storm pond. So we had to meet certain regulations for water flow. So this is our big retention pond. And over here to the left is going to be the pad for the building, the dirt pad. This is another walk with, this was Chester High School. Brought up a bunch of students to come out there and walk the job site and see if they wanted to get involved in healthcare, construction, or whatever. It was part of that, what am I going to do when I grow up type thing. And I was on that walk too, and I still haven't figured out what I'm going to do when I grow up. So it didn't help me at all, unfortunately. It's just what it is. Moving on. So we started putting in our electrical. This is the electrical team coming in. Keep going forward. So this is an electrical box. I've learned more about construction than I ever want to know. I mean, there's a lot of stuff here. There's a lot of stuff. This is one of the large electrical boxes. I think there are 5 of these. And it brings it in from the main source, for PG&E's main source around the campus into the boxes. And the boxes will split and have different conduit coming out to feed the building and different parts of the campus. So these were quite large, and they've got to get them in these big holes. And so that's part of the electrical. Moving on. This is the trench for the water. So we have two sources of water. We've got a freshwater pipe coming from CPUD coming in, and we've got fire water. And the fire water, this is the fire water pipe. It's quite large. And this water encircles the entire facility, the entire campus, and it feeds all the hydrants necessary for fire suppression. So it's a huge pipe and then a little freshwater pipe. We also had to put sewer in. Keep going. Oh, this is backflow devices. I had no idea they would be this big, but you can see this is the fresh water, and there's the backflow device. And this is actually, this one right here is the fire water, and that's the backflow device. These are our hydrants laying on their side. You can't see them, but they're up right now on the property. So we've actually installed our hydrants. In fact, tomorrow, we're going to have the, from the state, we're going to have the fire life safety officer from the regulatory body called HCI coming out here to certify our fire, water, and hydrants tomorrow before the storm. Yay. It's good stuff. They won't come up in the storm. They won't. They're smart. This is part electrical, and you can see them putting conduit in, and this is compaction. Keep going. These are the sewer lines. So CPUD has been very good in assisting us with both freshwater and sewer connection to the main. As this was annexed, this was an annexed property into their supply. We had to work with CPUD directly to get the freshwater connection in and the sewer out. And they were excellent. You know, props to Alan and the team. They were excellent. They were there when we needed them, and it went off without a hitch. So this is our sewer, and these are our manhole covers they're going in to be able to get to the access to the sewer as it heads out. Again, property being graded. This is the retention pond right here, and the property being graded. We did, unfortunately, this is when we're digging up and doing all the work and the grading. This was supposed to be, according to the contract, of what they call a balanced site. So every time they pull a shell of dirt out, it goes somewhere else, and it's supposed to balance the entire site out from a grading perspective. It turns out that we're building the hospital on an old riverbed, and for every scoop of dirt that we would pull, it'd be about 40% cobble. So it'd be rock. Good thing is, our landscaping plan calls for cobble. So we're going to trade 3,000 cubic yards of fill dirt for the cobble, and hopefully that will equal out, because we do have a lot of cobble, specifically around the helicopter landing spot. To keep the dust from blowing, you put cobble all around it. So we've got plenty of cobble. I had no idea. I mean, I've dug in my own personal yard a few times, and that frustrates the heck out of you. But you got to dig out there on a riverbed. It's pretty fascinating how much rock they pull out of that thing. Anyway, so that's the cobble. It's not a balanced site. We'll be pulling 3,000 cubic yards in from a local provider, local supplier. In the next, hopefully, week after the snowstorm. We'll see what happens. Again, it's just more of the underground infrastructure going in all the way around. You won't see a lot of upward growth until probably March or April of 2025, where they'll put the concrete pad in. The infrastructure will go into the concrete pad. They'll bring the steel in, the big steel beams, and you'll start seeing cranes out there raising the steel up, putting in the structure, and by this time next year, you'll have a completely enclosed hospital with full size. It'll look just like a hospital, completely enclosed with a roof, so that they can go inside and do tenant improvements throughout the year. It'll be what they call a warm building, a warm, dry building. So once they get this thing up, by this time next year, you'll have 150, 200 contractors working inside the building all year for the next year and a half to get this thing pulled up. So next year, you're going to start to see a lot of vertical activity. Once again, you'll be able to see the hospital be painted and siding and everything by next year. It just won't have anything in it. So don't go there unless you just want to hang out with the contractors. Not a bad gig, really. They're great people. Any good. This is an example. This is a picture of the main entrance. Now, the main entrance to the new hospital faces to the north. It faces the Collins Trail. It faces towards Feather River, towards the Feather River. And the reason we did that was when we did a little study about our storms, most of the storms, when they're circling us, the winds blow kind of from the south, a lot of times from the south, and that puts the back of the building against the storm, all right? It also allowed us to keep a lot of the foliage on this side. Down here on the north side, we kept it all natural, because it's where Stover's Ditch is. It's a wetlands back in there, and it's just beautiful. A lot of nature hanging back in there, and that's the front of the building, looking out towards the north. So this is the north facing. This is the front of the hospital, of the main hospital. And we wanted to get a very timber lodge look. So we're using oversized timbers. It's a very lodge feel to fit into sort of our community and the way that we like to see things. The colors are going to be very natural grays and browns and blues and things to that effect to work into the appellation. This over here is our long-term care unit. It is 26 beds, 26, so we're advancing 10 beds. It's 26 beds, sits by itself, but has connectivity back to the hospital. This is the north garden with the walkway from the main hospital into the skilled nursing. And then over here is the inpatient and emergency room. And I'll show you more pictures in just a second. Go ahead and advance. So when we say the big lodge look, we really wanted to make a statement with the facade of the building. And the facade of the building will be large lodge. When you pull into the hospital now and you have to pull up to the front, you're out in the weather. If you've got to drop somebody off or they have an appointment, we can now drive through this little vestibule and then go into the main area where we will do registration and then bring you back for whatever procedures are necessary, whether it's lab or imaging or surgical or whatever. So this is going to be the main waiting area here. We'll have a picture of that in just a little bit. The main waiting area where you'll wait for a loved one and then get called back into what we call offstage. So this is a thing that healthcare systems do these days. They have what they call the on-stage portion of the hospital and the off-stage. On-stage is very nicely decorated. It's for everybody. It's for the entire public to go, sit, commune, be together. And then off-stage is where you go through a wall and it becomes, or a door. Don't go through the wall. Please don't do that. You go through the door and it becomes off-stage, which means it becomes very medical, very sterile, very clean. So that's where procedural work happens off-stage. And none of the two shall ever meet. And there's a reason for that. You know, there's serious stuff happening in the back and the front is a little different. So on stage, off stage. This is our on stage area right here. And the off stage is back and we'll show you some of that. So big vestibule, big heavy timbers, drive-through area, parking lots out here on the left. And that's the front of the main hospital. Advance. Okay, this is a picture from the clinic. If you're standing at the clinic, this is a picture of the long-term care unit. Now, there's something special about this. This hospital is not built to be just what it is. It's built to expand. Give you an example. The skilled nursing facility, where it's 26 beds, which is 10 more than what we have today, has this expansion joint right here. And that's built for a reason. We can add, in the future, an additional 24 beds right next to it with very little difficulty. In other words, all the infrastructure is in place. We just basically connect the roof line out here and build another exact replica right here in this meadow where we kept it open from trees and any kind of landscaping. So it's our expansion joint for skilled nursing. We currently have a stack of skilled nursing applicants, people wanting to come in, or families that want to get their loved ones in closer to where they live. And we just can't accommodate. We're hoping that the 26 beds is filled, and then we're looking immediately into another 24-bed expansion. You know, just ultimately, that's the goal, is to get to 50 beds. This is a picture of the skilled nursing over here, the north-facing opening or entrance to the hospital over here on the right. And this is the north garden, and then we have replications. So the skilled nursing facility, and we're going to show you a picture of this area right here. The skilled nursing facility has two gardens on the north side and the south side, kind of a serenity garden. It's time for them to get outdoors, work with plants if they want to work with plants, sit and visit in the sunny days. So it's that garden experience, and we want to do that because indoor-outdoor is very important when you're a resident, when you're living in the long-term care. You want to get outside. And this allows us to get people outside in the sun, get them active in the outside, but also have some surveillance and being able to take care of people and keep an eye on things. So they got a north-south garden here, patio garden. The big windows here, we really went for the big sunlight. This is actually facing east. This is east. So it's going to get morning sun coming through the big windows. That's part of, this is the on-stage area of the facility where you come in and check in and sit and wait for loved ones. But we wanted a lot of light coming in from the east. So another reason for facing it north was that morning light, getting that really, really beautiful natural light coming in there. It makes it very bright. And you'll see the inside is very lofted. It's also very vaulted to really let that light feed through. Next. Another picture of the skilled nursing facility. You can see where we kept this meadow sort of clean so that if we have to do an expansion right here, it's just basically open ground. This is just another picture from the east side looking at the hospital. Next. Okay, the emergency room. Right now, everyone waits in the same place. So if you've got to go to the emergency room today, or you're just coming in there to wait for somebody to have a lab result, or you're going in there at the lab, you're all sitting in the same place. Our emergency entrance is facing Collins Pine. So if you're looking at the current clinic, the emergency room is on the far side, over towards Collins Pine. It has its own entrance. It has its own ambulance entrance and vestibule to keep them out of weather. It has its own check-in, including registration, its own waiting area, and it's expanded considerably. Right now we have 2 beds. You can barely get 2 people in there when you've got a patient in there. They're very small. They're terribly undersized. The new facility is going to have 5, and then the addition of two additional beds that are inpatient beds but can be used by the emergency room as overflow. So 7. Go ahead. This is a picture of the on-stage. So when you walk in the front door of the hospital, this will be registration right here. This is our history wall. This is going to be our history wall. This is also a private office for private consultation, whether it's related to registration or finances, or you need time with somebody in private. It's actually an office. Over here to the right is the main entrance door to the OR, which is right behind this, the lab, which is over here, and then imaging right over here. This is the waiting area. That door right there goes to the skilled nursing facility. So if you can see right there's the garden. If you go through that door and turn left, you're into the skilled nursing facility. And we're going to have a picture here. If you turn right, you'll see what you go to. Go ahead and advance. So if you're turning right from there, this is the hallway that goes down to the inpatient area, to acute and inpatient. This is our donor wall for donations and philanthropic activity. We're going to have, it looks like we're moving towards a digital wall so that we can update it regularly. And it's going to have these beautiful landscapes and scenescapes and things that are digitally enhanced on this wall. Right behind this wall is our meditation room / chapel. So right behind that wall right there is the chapel, and that goes to the inpatient area. Advance. This is the ER waiting area. So it has its own waiting area. And this is very important, really important. So this is kind of not on stage or off stage, it's sort of both. When people come into the emergency room, family waiting, we'll have this waiting area for them. Right over here at the very bottom is what they call a triage nurse. So when you come in and you have something going on, they'll triage you, do a blood pressure, check on you, and either you're going directly back, or if we're busy, we'll put you here, but they can see you at all times. The nice thing is it's a completely glass. It's glass, so they can see you. Registration is also in here. This is private registration for the emergency room. You do not register the same place that you do for the hospital or outpatient studies. Advance it. So this is the ER trauma bay. When I say a larger ER, a trauma bay is kind of like an emergency room or an OR. When somebody comes in and they've either been in a vehicle accident or they have heavy trauma, you need a lot of room in there for a lot of people to be working. Right now, we don't have that. And so this is our trauma bay. This is one of 5 rooms. This is right inside, as soon as the ambulance comes in, as soon as they bring the gurney in, it's right there. It's the first room right inside the emergency room. And it's right around the corner from radiology and CT. So literally right out the door here, the front door, CT is right over there. You could see the size. We have OR lights for procedural lights for being able to illuminate what we need to see in the trauma bay. So this is an example of the difference between what we have now and what we're going to have in the new emergency room. This is quite a lot of space. Go ahead. So this is, if you're looking this way, that's facing north. There's the garden. This is the area that is, before you go to the beds and the rooms of the skilled nursing facility, we have an area is considered to be more public. So our skilled nursing residents can eat here, visit here. We have a fireplace. They can eat here, visit family here. We also have not a recreation room. It's an everything room. Hang out, watch the Super Bowl, whatever you want to do. But so that's more enclosed to keep the noise down. But this is an open area within our skilled nursing that, once again, family, friends, community can come visit. We can have games there, cards there, whatever we want to do. Moving on. So in our OR, this is a big transition for us. So we have doctors that would like to be able to do procedural work here. Hips, knees, shoulders, the orthopedists that would do it if we had an OR that was up to date and state of the art. This is our procedure, our OR, our surgery area has got 2 rooms. One is a procedure room, which does things like colonoscopies, endoscopies, and some of those types of studies, procedures. And then there's the OR suite. It actually does surgical intervention. So this is our surgical room. Once again, state of the art, laminar airflow. So it pulls air out, cleans it, doesn't let the cooties and the critters in there. So that keeps it very clean. That opens us up to a lot of opportunity for orthopedics, for instance, orthopedic surgery. They would like to do things up here, orthopedic surgery. They can, we're certainly capable of doing it. This OR will allow them to actually do the surgeries here. And then you can just convalesce at home or remote, just whatever you want to do, staying up here. The other thing is I'd like to see, and I don't have it yet, and I'm looking at Brady, the COO over there, is cardiology. Being able to put pacemakers in. That's not a hard study. It really is not difficult, but they need an OR. They need a good, clean OR surgical suite. So this is an example of the OR, state of the art, very nice. Everything off the floor that can get off the floor. We don't really want anything on the floor, so everything hangs from the ceiling. It's plugged in, whether it's oxygen or suction or anything goes up in the ceiling so that the floors are kept clean. And that's good for terminal cleaning after the surgery. You can get in there and really, really do a good cleansing. So really good stuff. Next. This is the timeline. I just want to give you the build timeline. So we've done our harvest, tree harvest. We are in the middle of, we awarded the construction bid. That was fun. Dirt works have begun. They were going to finish around the middle of December, but we're facing a pretty good storm, it looks like. So I was in conversation with the construction team today about what they're going to do, and they're going to press on. They're going, okay, it's going to snow a little bit, so we'll put on our horseshoe or our snowshoes and go to work. But they're going to try to finish the groundwork this year, which means everything is in, it's graded. They can't put the roads in, they don't think this year, but it's going to be ready for next year. So come spring, and I'm talking about early spring, 2025, you're going to start seeing a lot of steel go up. So we're going to erect the skeletal structure of the building, then they'll be wrapping it, and then they'll be putting the roof on. So it'll be a complete building by this time next year with all work being done inside, all the tenant improvements, all the walls going up and everything that needs to happen inside. And then early 2027, we're going to be opening first patient right here. And rumor has it that it's early 2027, but if we get good weather and they can get that thing really buttoned up by next winter, that, cross your fingers, it could be earlier than that. But I'm not going to say that right now. It's March 2027. March 2027 will be first patient. We have to have the hospital ready 2 months before we can see first patient. So it's called, we get certificate of occupancy, then we have to do what they call staff and stock. So we have to stock it with everything, we have to staff it, the state comes up, licenses us, takes a look at everything, we have to check fire life safety, we've got to check, every monitor that works in there. It takes about 2 months. So the building will actually be ready to occupy well before we actually see first patient. It's just a matter of getting it ready for first patient. So that's a lot of work. I've done it before and it's a lot of work. So 2027 looks like the opening, first patient in the new Lake Almanor Community Hospital. Next slide. If you haven't heard, we've got Seneca Healthcare Foundation here. Every healthcare organization I've ever known has had a philanthropic arm. We understand that we are collecting taxes from you. Thank you very much for your taxes. You're seeing where it's going. We appreciate that. But there's some folks in our community that just need to get rid of more money or they pay more taxes. So you can either pay it to the government that you don't ever see it, or you can philanthropically, charitably donate it to the facility, and it can go directly to the build. So we have we are now a 501c3 officially, a 501c3 charitable organization through the Seneca Healthcare Foundation. The office is located right over there by the Punch Shack Frosty. It used to be Martin Realtor. We are renting that. That's the foundation office. So if you want to go in there and say hi, get a cup of coffee, Chelsea's back there. She'll say hi to you. Brandy's back there. She'll say hi to you. They work there. Follow us. If you want to scan this a little bit later and follow us with updates, we're going to be posting updates on a regular basis. We can't always do this, although we will be involved in a lot more of this. But stay with us. We're going to be posting all kinds of pictures because we've got cameras out there that are going to show the build. So we're going to sort of do a time-lapse montage as we build. Here's the phone number, there's the website, and there's the email to the foundation. And that is all I have. Yay!
Does anybody have any questions? I do have a question.
Hit it.
What roughly is the square footage?
Just under 45,000 square feet.
And where is the closest facility comparable to us? Where would you say?
Comparable how? In size?
Yeah.
Or capability?
Or both?
Or friendliness? No. I mean, Banner. Banner is part of a very large healthcare system out of Arizona. So Banner is about the same size, critical access, but Plumas District is probably the closest. Okay. And then, yeah, so really way up here tucked up in the northwest corner of Plumas County, we're it. And we've got to be that good. So I forgot to tell you that outside the emergency room is the helicopter landing spot. So no more going to the airport. So you will get transferred directly onto a helicopter if you have to get out of here. It's a direct transfer now, or will be. Yeah.
All right.
Comparable? No one's comparable.
It looks state of the
I think
art.
Stanford's probably the closest comparable place. What? All right.
Yeah, looks really good. Okay, all right. Well, thank you. And Seneca, Sean is coming back in April to give us another update. You're scheduled for that town hall. So thank you. All right, so next slide. All right, so we have Chad Herman today, our undersheriff. We have Sean gave his update, and we have any questions for him on anything else. And then also Fire Chief Robert Gray. Bob Gray is here from Peninsula Fire. So I'd like to start with you, Chad, if there's any updates that you want to give us from the Sheriff's Department.
Better? Chad Herman, Undersheriff, Plumas County. Sean's done a great job on putting this project together. After overseeing the jail construction and being on that project since 2011 and going through the motions and all the bureaucracy, as Sean said, when the shovels hit the ground, it's a whole new story. So you've already been through it once. Hang on. It's a lot of work, and my hat's off to you. It's been fun watching this project. As far as the sheriff's office, happy to report that two of our dispatchers that have recently left, to pursue other careers. One is back with us. We're just waiting to finish up the background for their month being gone. We still have to jump through all those hoops. And one that went to go to work down in the city is just notified today that he's coming back to us. So that's two of our veteran dispatchers coming back, which is a huge deal for us. Some of the other news we have going on right now, next month we have two of our cadets graduating from Siskiyou Community College. They should be starting effectively through the training process around the third week of December and 4 to 5 months. If all things go well, they get through the training process. They get through the shadow program to where they're operating as a single officer. They'll be out on patrol. And we have one that is going into the academy in December, coming out of the jail. He's a newer resident of Plumas County, lives out in the Graygle area. He'll be going to the academy at Butte College. That's the soonest one we could get him into. 6-month process. Then once he graduates, which I have no doubt that he will, they'll start that FTO and training program with him as well. We have a fourth deputy coming online. That is a deputy out of Nevada. So we're sending him to a post-research course. He's a seasoned officer. We were hoping to get him on about 6 months ago, but he had some transition in his life and then reached back out to us recently and said he wants to plant roots back in Plumas County. So we're very happy about that. So if all goes well, in a matter of the next 6 to 8 months, we'll have 4 more deputies out on the street for patrol, which is good for us to hear. I wish they lived in the Almanor Basin, but none of them do, so they'll be commuting every day up to work up here. As far as the jail goes, we've gotten a couple new employees there that are going through the process. Still looking for more applicants. It's a rewarding job, a tough job, but the applicants that we are getting are sticking around and getting their feet wet, and they've become very successful officers. So we're gradually keep gaining bodies to fill the positions. So we're hopeful that we can keep on this path and keep being successful. Some of the things we are working on to offset our personnel shortage in the north end of the county, being Greenville and Chester, is I met with the sheriff this last week, and we're trying to author a resident deputy stipend. Just the mere fact that there aren't houses available, and the houses that are available are a little above cost for a deputy. So we're trying to figure out a way to make this work to be a bigger grab to get deputies that are moving to the area to live up in the Almanor Basin or in the Indian Valley area. So we're looking at all different options available. Um, like I said, I would love for the county to purchase a couple of houses up in the Lakes Basin area and rent them to employees for a period of time. That's a little bit outside my wheelhouse and pay grade, but something that I have spoke to some board members about. Whether that ever becomes an option, I don't know, but I believe Seneca has purchased some houses for employees. I know the school district has in various areas of the county. It just makes sense to me if we get somebody rooted in the north area, give them time to get established, give them time to get some money saved. We are always open to suggestions. I've taken tons of phone calls from citizens. Some weren't great conversations. Some have been absolutely incredible. Having just another perspective to look at from outside the law enforcement realm is very beneficial for us. Kind of like with your project, overseeing a jail construction site, that was not part of my academy training, but it fell in my lap and we were very successful. We've fully transitioned to the new jail as of mid-October. And just like a new house, we're finding an outlet that doesn't work or some little things that we have to go back and fix, but we've stayed on top of it pretty well. And the transition has been quite magical. Any questions? None at all? I know I'm not as funny as Sean, but thank you, everybody.
Okay, we do have Chief Gray here. If there are any questions that you have for him about the proposed consolidation? Anybody who has anything to ask about that? It's a quiet group tonight. You're off the hook? Anything you want to report on or want to say?
I wanted to talk on the microphone too. They want to be the only one who didn't. Hello, everyone. My name is Bob Gray, Fire Chief, Peninsula Fire. I just wanted to let you all know that we are, as you may or may not have heard, pursuing an application for annexation of Chester. It's so far so good, and there'll be more to come in the future. What I can tell you right now is that for more information on where we're at, what the different documents and whatnot that are involved with this, it is all available on peninsulafire.net, our webpage. You'll see a tab there that has all the different parts and pieces and whatnot to this process and where we're at. We'll also be posting any public hearings that will be coming up on that site. So if you're wondering what's going on, you can always contact me either at the office at Peninsula Fire. You can contact me by email, which is peninsulafire00@gmail.com. Tried to keep that easy. Or you can go to peninsulafire.net and look at the information that we have there and any upcoming meetings. So that is all I had, unless there are any questions. Excellent. Thank you.
Okay, if you have noticed, there have been some improvements to Chester Park the last couple months, which I like to recognize the county and facility staff. So new picnic tables, new benches. There is now a concrete pathway leading from the parking lot in between the amphitheater and the restrooms. So, and actually it's wide enough that you can drive on it when you have events and you're supposed to be in there. And then they did a nice concrete pathway from the basketball court to the snack shack or to the skate shack. And then also they're going to be working on the lighting for the basketball court. So, we've been getting a lot of attention. We have an agreement with the county to have that ice rink and the tree in the park. It was kind of informal before, but now that has been buttoned up. And so it's nice to be getting some attention to that park. So you have a chance to do it before the snow, then go ahead. So yes, question? Right, so the question was about having an on-site, like a security residence, eyes and ears. I believe there was somebody in the past, but I have not heard anything about that coming back, that position but I can certainly bring that forward to the county. For our security residents? Okay, there you go. There's a position. That is a great idea. Build a house, put the resident deputy. It's a win-win. It's a twofer. Okay. I will go to their website and see what's posted then. Okay, any other questions? Yes?
We actually have one person in the office. After a 29-year career as a patrol leader, retired, 29 years with our county, we actually went to the same academy with him, LASO, Los Angeles Sheriff's Office Academy, 290. And we actually, 102 cadets in the class, we came out one number one, number two in the class. So he's been a valuable part of our department. In my entire career, he's been good. So it's kind of bittersweet for me. He got out first. Carson Williams. Yeah, Carson. Yeah, he's done an amazing work for our county. So if you do happen to see him out, we just shake his head and tell him to come on the street.
Okay, next slide. So just another friendly reminder about the tree lighting and Merchants Night coming up. And then we will not see you until January. So next slide. We're going to wish you happy Thanksgiving, happy holidays, and we will be back at the end of January. So thank you very much.